What is happening, in your best of your ability, between Lamar Jackson and the Ravens and the conundrum that they seem to be in once again as franchise tag day has arrived?
I've been really defending Lamar for the last couple of years when people criticize him an agent, all this kind of stuff. I thought he was making the right move. Take your time. The market's going to go up. You're not going anywhere. And I couldn't imagine a scenario in the end. I mean, he was saying, I want to finish my career in Baltimore. The Ravens were saying, oh, we'll get this done. It's just a question of when. And here we sit. And, we all think it's because of the guaranteed money. And I think we're probably right about that. But, we never really know what's going on inside those negotiations. I just think that Lamar has viewed himself as somebody who's standing up for the collective good of the players and the opportunity to potentially leverage the Watson contract and getting himself a fully guaranteed contract and what that could mean as we go down the road. I think he's taken that on as a cause. So I don't think it's just his contract anymore. I think that he's seeing a much greater importance, a much greater opportunity. Now, here's the reality, despite what you hear, is if you're 25 years old and you're a top-tier player, the chances that you're going to collect 100% of your contract are extraordinarily high. So if he's fighting, if he has an offer in front of him, the average is fair, the length is something he can live with, and he's fighting to get more of it guaranteed. He's fighting for something that has almost no chance of mattering. I know we're always saying, like, we're judging contracts. The guy gets the most guaranteed money actually got the best deal.
Yes.
It's not always true. If you're 25, a very narrow category I'm talking about, and you're a top-tier player at your position, and you sign a 3, 4, 5-year deal, the odds are extremely high, whether 10% of that contract is guaranteed or 75%, that you're going to get all the money in that contract. So there is a risk. I'm not saying it's 100%. But if he's in a place where he's happy, he's had coaches, I think, that have done a really good job to use what he does well. I do think they have some wide receivers in there now. Bateman got hurt last year. I mean, I thought he looked really good, but for a long time didn't have the weapons that he needed to really thrive all the time in the passing game. If I were him, I would try to find a way to get the deal done. Now, that's assuming that the length and the average are okay, because these guarantees. We're going to watch all of these quarterbacks in the mid-20s who signed these new deals in the mid-20s, and they're all going to collect all the money in the contract. So he's fighting for something that I think is of minimal value, and he could end up having to go to a place that he won't be happy, that can't take advantage of what he does as well. I worked with John Harbaugh for 12 years. I can say he's not going to find a coach any better to play for than John Harbaugh. So I think he's in a really good situation, and he should make sure if he's fighting for something, it really is going to matter.
So, and by the way, for the stuff that you hear, and I kind of trafficked in that world yesterday when I came up with a whole bunch of rumors and actually said them and spilled some tea that I heard at the Combine from a bunch of people, that the Ravens' support of Lamar publicly is through the roof. Yeah. And, not even relationships that you sense aren't perfect, that wind up being more imperfect, there's usually just the tip of the iceberg. They haven't given any hint of that at all publicly. They have done nothing but throw their arms around him and love him and support him in that respect. But I'm trying to pick up what you're putting down here. Do you think, Joe Banner, if Lamar had an agent, he'd have settled by now?
I do, just because everybody else in his shoes did, but I'm not sure that was right. As I said, I've been applauding the fact that, if you're a quarterback and you're a star player, the longer you wait, the more money you're going to get. Now, You're taking some injury risk.
Yes.
But we're in an era where the medical advances have been so great that we hardly ever see a player whose career ends. So Lamar Jackson's not going to suddenly go out and have a career-ending injury. Could he have enough injuries that people start to worry about his durability? We may be on the precipice of that right now. That can certainly happen. But the injury risk that players take when they wait now is so much smaller than it was a decade ago. And most of it's because they prepare better and because the medicine is such a, we used to worry about guys coming back from ACLs. Then we had a period where, he'll come back from an ACL, but not till year 2.
Right.
Now we watch guys get back out on the field and they look like nothing ever happened. So I don't think he should rush to do a deal out of fear of getting hurt. And I've been saying that for 2 years. And I think if he had an agent, look, all the agents that have represented these players are doing these deals after 3 years, because it's hard to walk away from $150+ million in
but they're also not getting the Deshaun Watson deal either.
No. And my point is, you'd rather get that, but if the choice is to have to leave a team that believes in you with a coaching staff that you have a good rapport with, on a team they have a good chance to win, what you're fighting for is probably not going to matter.
What do you think of that, Chris? What do you think of that, TJ? I mean, this is pretty much straight talk right there, and what's right in front. So what is walk me through before we put a pin in this part of our conversation, Joe Banner. What's Eric DeCosta's choice between how to franchise tag him? That's coming between now and 4 p.m. Eastern time. That we're assuming that's going to happen. That this Rubik's Cube on what contract he's willing to accept and the Ravens are willing to offer is not going to get solved between now and 4 Eastern time.
Yeah, I mean, he'll get tagged even if it's for the purpose of trading him. They're not going to just do nothing. They may be using the deadline, to see if there's any way to scramble. I mean, listen, at some point, the Ravens must not be believing 100% that he's either taking a fully guaranteed deal or not. There's no in-between ground. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's a negotiation. You never really know till the end what was the other side really willing to do versus what were they saying they were willing to do. They're always two different things, even though sometimes they're close. So the cost is, if he feels like he has a chance to get a deal done, it's a good window to scramble in and go, listen, let's take one last shot at this thing and try to do it. But if they're really set on the fact that they're not giving a guaranteed deal, then they can tag him two ways. One, gives other teams an opportunity to talk to him.
Yes.
If they get a deal done, then the Ravens get two ones back this year, and next year's one. The other draft pick doesn't allow anybody to talk to him even. He's theirs for a year. It's pay a lot more money. I think it's about $15 million difference.
So what would you...
Well, listen, you'd have to really know what's going on. We're guessing a little about what's going on, in which case I would put the lower tag on him.
Me too. And say, hey, you go... don't take our word for it. You go.
Right.
And also knowing, if you want to play some 4 or 5 dimensional chess, that one of the spots you might really want to go to and talk to is Miami. And they don't have a first round selection this year. So they would be ineligible for signing Lamar because they don't have a one this year. Yep. Now, obviously, they can go ahead and make a trade to get one just to hand to the Ravens and say, we have it for you. But to me, that would be the way to go, But
well,
you're the expert.
I don't think there's any choice because now you're in a negotiation, so you're looking for a little bit of leverage. So if he's tagged to pay for $32 million a year, he's more motivated to get something done. Now, something done may be with somebody else. Remember, they can't trade without him agreeing to it because he has to sign the tag before they can trade him.
Yes.
So people need to remember that. He will have a certain amount of control even once he's tagged as to what happens next year. Now, we all wondered at the end of last season, was he hurt that bad that he had to miss whatever ended up being 7 or 8 games? Because remember, when he went out, we thought he was going to be back in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yes.
Or did the contract play some part in that? We can speculate forever. We'll probably never know. But if, in fact, you're even worried about that and you're the team and you tag him, knowing that he has no problem not playing and collecting the money, what are you going to do now? He's already demonstrated he could just leave you hanging there. You could have him. You could be in a position where you have to pay him and you got nothing for him. Who's your quarterback for this year? And how are you going to get some value for him in the future? So the Ravens are really highly motivated to find a way to get something done here relatively soon, in my opinion, because they could really end up where it's just so obvious that they have to do something and that they've got really no options and that he truly is going to stick to his guns.
What if he, in just the last one, and then we'll take a break and we'll have. I want to ask you about the Eagles and what you think they're going to do moving forward here. What about, Atlanta? I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah. Just throwing a name out there. And I know they have Desmond Ridder, but do you think Atlanta would cough up 2-1s?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I would as well. And so then you're Baltimore, you're sitting there at 8. You got a shot at somebody to draft this year if you like them, if you interviewed them and you like them, right? I mean, don't you think?
Well, somebody's going to get from around there. They're going to get one of those guys.
Vegas, it's 7.
Right. So you go into 7, 8, 9, 4. I mean, I think 2 of those teams are going to trade up, or 2 of those spots, let's just say. Right. We don't know who will have them by then. 2 of those spots are going to trade up.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.